All right. Good morning, everyone, or maybe it's the afternoon where you are. I'm Tyler from Stockscores.com. Today's presentation, how to get the most out of Stockscores. I'll talk for probably 45 minutes to an hour and just go through how everything on Stockscores fits together. Now, this is the final webinar in the series that I've been running since April, I guess, and I'm going to try to put all the pieces together. The different tools on Stockscores, how education fits in with those tools, what are the theories behind the Stockscores approach, that sort of thing. I want to show you the flow to becoming a better stock trader, where you start and ultimately where you end. All right, so let's begin with a little bit of the theory behind Stockscores. Why or how do I trade the market? My whole principle behind trading is that the stock market isn't fair, that there are some people that get better information than others. And those people have an advantage in the market, and we can follow them using market activity. In most, the way most people approach the market is they study company fundamentals, they figure out what the company's worth, and then they buy them if they think the company is undervalued. So for example, Warren Buffett, a couple of his fund managers bought a big stake in Apple last quarter because they felt that the price was less than what the company was really worth. And these are very sophisticated, smart investors who do a lot of work to determine what the value of the firm is. And then they say, okay, well, it's trading at $92 and we think it's worth $110, so we'll buy it. Now, you and I can do that too, but let's face it, you and I don't have access to information like Warren Buffett does. We don't have the level of sophistication and the capital base to do the kinds of things that these large fund managers can do. And even then, they can still be wrong. The market is, for the most part, unpredictable. We can only make guesses about the future and hope that we're right on more guesses than we are wrong. And we also hope that when we are right, we make more money than we lose when we are wrong. I don't really care whether someone is right or wrong, or whether I'm right or wrong. I just try to trade market activity that has a tendency to predict the future. And so when we see a large fund start to buy a stock like Apple aggressively, it creates abnormal activity. And that's really what I follow as a trader. I look for abnormal behavior. I look for stocks that are breaking from predictive chart patterns, that trade more volume than normal, that make a price change that stands out, because I know that the reason those things happen is because the people that do the most work, the best work in terms of fundamental analysis, when they do good work and they uncover a story or a company that they believe is undervalued and they start to buy it aggressively, they create the market activity that I follow. So I am just a follower of what other people are doing with their money. I don't care what people say. I don't care what the media says. I only care about what people are actually doing with their money in the market. And when you learn how to read chart patterns and use some of the tools that I've developed, you can start to see this action coming into the market. So that's the kind of the theoretical base behind Stockscores. Now, a few other important things. Number one, I want to preserve capital. I'm not going to be right all the time. When I'm wrong, I want to take small losses. Number two, I'm trading the expected value. I'm trying to trade situations where the reward potential outweighs the risk. And I just play a numbers game. If I do 100 trades, how much can I be right out of 100? And what is my average profit versus my average loss? And those are some of the things that we talked about in the last couple of webinars. Now that's the theory. Then we go on to the knowledge, the actual specific methods that we use to analyze companies through their stock charts. And I have created an online learning tool called the Foundation course where we can do that. So I'm going to jump over to Stockscores now and go into the education area. And here under Foundation, you can see that there's all of these modules on different topics. This is the theoretical knowledge behind my strategies. So in order to day trade my way or in order to long-term invest my way, it doesn't matter. You need to understand these important concepts. What are chart patterns? What are the predictive chart patterns? So those are, the first couple of modules here. What is a price channel and why is it important? A lot of the trading I do these days is very dependent upon the concept of price channels. Now, to understand what is a price channel, well, if you have access to this material, then you click on the lesson, you read it, and then you can watch the video, which explains it, just like I am doing today. There's a video that I recorded that you can watch from your iPad, your cell phone, your computer, anything that has access to the internet. You get some snazzy music to start, and this particular lesson is on how to use price channels. Then you have to apply the knowledge through the assignment to make sure you understand it, and then finally take a little multiple choice test to go through that material. All right, so you can see that there's, I don't know, at least 10 or 15 different modules there, and you can see the titles. Take a moment to read them. Some of them are absolutely essential. The first 10 are probably really essential. Things like reverse engineering the stock market, developing a trading strategy. I mean, that's what I do. I would like you to be able to do it. I would like you to be able to develop your own strategies, and I teach you how to do that. But I mean, I'm doing that for you if you're one of my students. You don't necessarily need to understand that, although I do think it's useful to at least understand the process behind doing those things. All right, so that particular course material, there's about 8 hours of video there. I'm not exactly sure of the time. I would say no more than 8 hours. It might actually be less. And you have to take the time to go through it. Now, you can go through all of that in one day. I used to teach all of this in a classroom in live classes, but now I put it online like this because the beauty of it being online is you can watch these modules as many times as you want for as long as you want. We don't have a time limit. I mean, I suppose one day I might die and these things all go away. I don't know. But they've been up for a long time. And I'm always adding new material as well. As I come up with new theories, that sort of thing, I will add things into this. Although the foundation of knowledge really hasn't changed a lot. Now notice there is a module in here called risk management. I'm just going to show you how that relates to the Stockscores website. So if I go into tools, you will see that there is a tool here called the risk calculator. Now the risk management module teaches how to use this tool and why you would use this tool to define your position size. So this will tell you how many shares of the stock to buy based on the entry and stop loss price, based on your risk tolerance, and that sort of thing. Once you have done a trade, this tool will tell you what your risk-reward ratio earned is. All right, so if you've taken the education, then you know how to use the tool. And of course, with the education, you get access to the tool, which is something you can renew annually. The most important part of the tools on Stockscores is the market scan. We'll get into that in a moment. That's when we actually apply our strategies, which I'll be talking about in just a moment. So you can see all the different titles there. Time frame confirmation, very important concept. Why you would scale in, and what is scaling into a position. It's basically adding to a winner. When do you do that, and why do you do that? How to create a trading plan. You know, one of the important steps in the learning process with me is that once you have gone through all of the material, I want you to create a one-page trading plan and email it to me so I can tell you whether you A, understand the material properly, and maybe some improvements to make your plan better. All right, so that is a little bit of how the foundation works. Once you understand the knowledge, the background, you are then ready to understand the strategies. Now my strategies are pretty simple. They typically have 1 to 5 rules, and so you know what rule number 1 for buying is, rule number 2, rule number 3. All of these things can be written on the back of a napkin. However, you cannot understand the rules unless you first understand the foundation. So you have to study the foundation material, understand it so that you know what I mean by an ascending triangle pattern, what I mean by being overbought or oversold in the price channel, those sorts of things. When you have done that material, then you move on to the actual rules of the strategy. Now there are a number of different strategies. The investor strategies are those that are for people who want to be longer term traders, and so we have 4 of those. This one here, the Stockscores Simple Daily, takes about 15 minutes a day. You don't have to do it every day, but on the days you do it, it takes you about 15 minutes. The Stockscores Simple Weekly is a great strategy for the person trying to manage their retirement savings, don't want to spend a lot of time at it, 15 to 30 minutes of work per week. Abnormal breaks is a great one if you want to find a little bit faster moving stocks with a shorter time frame for holding. Bottom fishing, producing a lot of picks right now as many of the stocks that have been in these long-term downward trends are turning. And I use this strategy to pick a lot of the gold miners and a lot of the energy stocks that turned around in the last few months as those sectors of the market bottomed. Now the active trader area is where you learn active trading strategies. So this is day trading and swing trading. I love to swing trade with the simple swing strategy. I sent out an email earlier this week to people who've taken in some of these webinars before, showing the profits I had made from that strategy. It was about 4,000 US dollars from I think Monday to Tuesday or Tuesday to Wednesday, I don't recall. And that was a strategy I used for that. How do you learn the strategy? Read the lesson, watch the video, and then you have to practice. In addition, in the active trader area, there are a couple of videos on how to use TradeStation. Now you don't necessarily have to use TradeStation. It's a great platform. It costs about $300 a year. That isn't for me. That's an American company that runs TradeStation. I just get my students a discount on the platform. And for $300 a month, you have a fantastic tool that will help you make more money in the market. However, what I have done, and I'll touch on this in a moment, is I have created some indicators for TradeStation that make it even more powerful and really give you an edge in the market. All right, so that's sort of the learning part. All right, so this is gathering knowledge. You understand the theories, you then understand the actual application of the theory through the foundation, and then you start working on your rules for when to buy, when to sell in the strategy section. Now you need tools. We need a way to find stocks in a timely fashion. You know, it's all well and good to say, oh, this stock was a great pick 2 months ago, but if you didn't find it 2 months ago, then it hasn't made you any money. And so I have created two tools for this, Stockscores.com, and specifically the market scan tool, which I'll show you in a second. And then the other one is TradeStation, where really more so for day traders, and I'll show you that in a moment as well. So let's do Stockscores first. That's the market scan tool. So let's say you want to do the Stockscores simple weekly strategy. That is a long-term investor strategy, all right? Or long-term trader strategy. So the first thing I have to do is set my default chart time frame to a 3-year chart. So I bring up any old stock, doesn't matter which one. I always tend to bring up Microsoft for some reason. And I go down to the chart tab and I make sure I'm on quick charts. I change this to weekly chart is the interval, and I want it to go back 3 years. Change that to 3 years and click on create chart. And I now have a 3-year weekly chart. Now that is my default. Because I've set it in that chart tab, every other chart I look at from now on will be a 3-year weekly chart. So now let's run the Stockscores Simple Weekly. Let's do on the Canadian market and run the report. Found 62 stocks. Now I have to view those stocks looking for the chart patterns that I've been taught to look for in the the foundation lessons and in the strategy document. So this one right here, pretty good. Sustainable energy technology. I like that chart, V.EGT. I would say has a pretty good potential to go to 40 cents. It's currently at a little bit above 20 cents, 21 cents. Is it great? No, it's not great. I'd rate it a 7 out of 10. As I go through these, and you can see I'm going through them quite quickly, I'm just looking for a pattern. And it takes some practice to see the pattern, but if you've done this, you know, enough, you'll see the patterns. Now here is one that has a great pattern. Let me show you this here. So there was a pattern right here called an ascending triangle with a breakout there. You can see the volume was higher than normal. Remember we talked in previous webinars about the sentiment score needing to be above 60, the signal score needing to be above 80. Well, all of those things came together there, and look what happened with the stock. It went from, I don't know, 70 cents to $2.50 in the span of a few months. More recently, it broke what's called a flag pattern right here. Again, abnormal volume. Stock scores weren't above 60. Well, the sentiment was just coming to 60, but this is the bottom fishing pattern. In the bottom fishing pattern, we actually lower our standards. The sentiment score only needs to be 50 or higher. So we do alter the rules a little bit by the strategy, and all of those things are explained in the strategy document. Okay, So I got to figure out how to get out of this here. There we go. So that's how you use the market scan. You go through the charts using the preset scans, and you'll see that there's many different scans on here. There's scans for all the different strategies I use. You know, if you have time to check the market in the morning, I love this scan right here, Morning Movers Canadian, Morning Movers US. Do that about 40 minutes after the market opens to find the stocks that are moving early in the day, because oftentimes they will continue to move through the day. You can get them early in the day, maybe buy them at $5. By the end of the day, they could be $5.40. You made, you know, an 8% move just through the day. So that's one of the scans I like to use to find some of the candidates as well. And I do that one every day myself, typically about 40 minutes after the open. So there's strategies and scans for different types of traders, but also different people who have different time availability. Not everyone can look at the market in the first hour. Some people have to go to a job. No problem. You're going to do a different strategy. You're going to do strategies that allow you to do the work in the evenings or on the weekends. I have a lot of people who, you know, work shift work where they do work later in the day so they can trade the market for the first few hours of the day. Great. Then you're going to run the Stockscores simple swing scan, because most of the picks for that strategy come in the first 2 hours of the day. And you don't have to work the rest of the day. You kind of want to keep an eye on your stocks, but you can do that from a cell phone with the technology that's out there today. All right, so that's how Stockscores.com works. Let's talk a little bit about TradeStation. I'm going to jump over. Oh, I don't have TradeStation open. My apologies. Let me just see if I can open it up here quickly. So TradeStation is a trading platform that, or an analysis platform that's owned by a brokerage in the U.S. Again, I want to emphasize, I don't have anything to do with TradeStation. When you pay $300 a month, I don't get anything for that. I use it. I've been using it for well over 10 years, probably 15 years. I encourage my day trading students to use it. Swing trading, it's a good tool to have. It's not necessary, but it's helpful. I think you'll make more money with it. And with this tool, I basically can monitor the market in real time, looking for different strategies. So I'm just going to, and I apologize, I should have had this set up before, but I forgot. So on this one, and I've talked about TradeStation in past videos, you know, it allows me to program my own indicators. And what I've done is programmed indicators that put little dots on the chart. So you can see on this chart, there's some yellow dots, some pink dots, some blue dots, and there's no blue dots in this one, but I've shown those in past videos. So those dots have some meaning. They're looking for abnormal activity. So Twitter was a stock that I uncovered early in the day on Friday because it was moving abnormally with some strong volume, and it did quite well as the day progressed. It was a good little day trade. It had a pattern here called a flag pattern, and then it had an ascending triangle breakout there, and those, you know, were decent little day trades. So how do I find them? Using this platform. There's a couple of videos that I've created to teach you how to use this platform. There's other webinars which I've done in the last week. Go to my YouTube channel. You can watch those if you missed out on them. The one that I did on Thursday, which was how to make a career out of stock trading, is really where I focused on TradeStation. So make sure you give that one a look. All right. So we've got knowledge. We've got strategies. We've got tools. Now we need to execute. We need to actually do this stuff instead of just talk about it. So execution should be done in two ways, and I talked about this a lot in the last webinar as well, but I'll reiterate. So simulated trading. Now you can do simulated trading a lot of different ways. You can simply take out a piece of paper, and if you see a stock that you think should be bought, write down buy Yahoo at $10.50 on Friday at 9:42 in the morning, and just track how you do. I mean, that's a real simple way to do it. Problem with it, though, is that you can cheat yourself. You can say, well, I wouldn't have actually done that one. That trade didn't work out, so I'll just pretend it never happened, that sort of thing. And for that reason, I created a tool called Stockscores, which allows you to do simulated trading where you can't really cheat. All right, so and I've shown this video in past, or I've shown this website in past videos. I'll just quickly show it again. Go to tradescores.com, and you set up a free account here. Once you've set up a free account, you can trade using our market simulator. All right, you can compete against other traders. You don't have to, but you can. And it's all free. So I encourage you to go set up a free account at Stockscores and just practice trading. Now, a quick comment about how Stockscores works. Most stock trading games that are out there will, for example, give you $100,000 of cash, and you get to trade that $100,000 in pretend money and see how well you do. The problem with that is that if you joined 2 years ago, you could have grown that $100,000 to $200,000, and the person who joins today is way behind you. And so what I decided to do is take money out of the equation and just factor in what you earn in terms of reward for risk. So let's say you buy a stock at $10 and you have a stop loss at $9. You have $1 of risk. Let's say that you buy this in the simulator, okay? Let's say a month later you sell that stock in the simulator for $13. All right, you've made a $3 a share profit and you risked $1 a share. So you have made a 3-to-1 reward for risk ratio and a 30% gain in 1 month. All right. So those are the critical metrics that Stockscores looks at. They look at what did you earn in reward for risk and what did you earn in percentage gain in consideration of the time that it took. And there's an algorithm that I wrote which basically gives you a score out of 100 using these concepts. So this trade is a pretty good trade, not a great trade because the reward for risk isn't huge. That might earn you a 72. All right. So then in your Stockscores account, you'll have that trade that has a 72. Now maybe you have a trade that loses money. You earned or you lost some money, so you get a trade that earns you a minus 30 score. Well, over time, you get these scores built up, and it will rank you against other people using Stockscores. And that's how you can see whether you're doing well. Now, the other thing it does is it tracks your total reward for risk earned. So let's say after 10 trades, you've got a reward for risk of 12. It will then say, okay, there's a little tool in here where you can enter in your risk amount. So let's say your risk amount is $1,000. Well, it then says, okay, you earned $12,000 in profit, and it would have required, based on the position sizes, $20,000 of capital, and therefore you earned a 60% profit. And it's all part of the algorithms in Stockscores. It's a pretty cool tool. You have to spend a little time going through the education on Stockscores. There's some free videos on there that explain how all of this works. But take the time to watch them. It's maybe an hour of your time, and then you can start simulated trading. And that's an important concept that I want all of my students to do. If you can't make money on Stockscores in simulated trading, then you shouldn't be trading with real money. Although Stockscores isn't real money, it is very realistic. And I want to emphasize, though, that you still need to, when you start trading with real money, start with a low amount of risk. And that's something I talked about in the last webinar as well. Start by risking $50 a trade or $100 a trade to get started so that you can learn your lessons without them costing you a lot of money. My best students, the ones who succeed the most, do the process the way I'm showing you today. They learn the theory, the knowledge. They then learn the strategies. They then execute in a simulated fashion. And then when they execute, they start slow with not too much money and slowly grow their risk as they gain experience. And now you can do that process in 2 months. You can do that process in 2 years. It's up to the individual how quickly they work through that process. But if you do it that way, you're not going to blow up your account. You're going to take it one step at a time and take the time to gather experience. All right, now as you go through that process, what I provide to my students is support. And I do that in a few different ways. First of all, email. Let's say you purchase my course, you study all the material, but you're not really sure how risk management works. Fire me an email. That's a theory question, no problem. More importantly, when you're actually executing, let's say you do your market scans one evening and you find Microsoft is a good pick for the Stockscores simple strategy, but you're not sure, you're not confident because you haven't done this a lot yet. Fire me an email and say, Tyler, I did the Stockscores simple scan tonight. I think Microsoft is good. Am I following the rules properly? I cannot tell you whether you should buy the stock or sell to the stock because I'm not a licensed investment advisor. I am a teacher. I can tell you whether you are applying the rules properly. I can tell you whether you've missed something or whether you're focused on something that doesn't matter a whole lot. So just fire me a short email, and this is only available to my students. Fire me a short email. There's a trading coach little button on the Stockscores website, or you can just fire me an email, and I can give you some feedback on whether you are applying the rules properly. Another thing I do is I have my newsletters. Every week I put out a free weekly newsletter. I have a little lesson in that newsletter every week. I usually pick a few stocks every week, and that's a good learning tool. YouTube. Every week, at least once a week, I upload a video called the Weekly Stockscores Market Minutes video. I have a little lesson, and I do my analysis of the market. That doesn't cost you anything either. Twitter. I put out comments on Twitter all the time. For example, early this week on Twitter, I said, not a lot of action in the market right now, but where I do see action is in gold stocks, gold miners, going down. It was on Tuesday or Wednesday that I said that. And guess what happened to gold stocks? They went down. Now there's a way to make money from gold stocks going down. There's an ETF called DUST. That's the symbol. And it goes up when the gold miners go down. And so I bought DUST right here. That's about the time I put out the tweet. And over the next, no, I must have done it at a separate time. I must have done it back here. Yeah, I think I did it on Monday. So anyway, I can't remember. You can go look at my Twitter feed and find out when I did it. Anyway, the point is those gold miners have been moving down, which means this ETF has been moving up through the week. And that's a free comment. I put it out on Twitter. And follow me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is @Stockscores. And if you haven't used Twitter before, it's a fantastic tool for stock trading. There's all kinds of good resources on Twitter. And then finally, I do webinars on a regular basis. So some webinars are free, like these ones. Some webinars are paid webinars. Some of them are only open to my students. I'll be doing a series of student-only webinars that are paid in June. But I'm always trying to keep things up to date and update the knowledge as I develop my approach to the market as well. So those are all the pieces. Now, how do you get started? Why would you get started? Well, first of all, no one cares more about your money than you. If you have someone managing your money for you, great, but you should be educated on how things work because nobody cares more about your money than you. And I think everyone that is trying to save for retirement should take the time to learn how the stock market works. How do you do it? You can teach yourself how the stock market works. You can read books on it. I have created these courses that have been around for 15 or 16 years. I've taught thousands of people around the world my approach, but I don't do it a lot anymore. I teach maybe 100 students a year, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But that is how you can learn what I do. But if you want to learn from someone else, great. If you want to teach yourself, great. I personally think that you'll learn it quicker and better, sort of taking advantage of my experience. I've been trading for 26 years, and I've made every mistake in the book. I'm good at this because I've spent all the time in the world doing it. So 2 courses. The investor course gives you access to the foundation lessons. We talked about that. To the strategies that are investor strategies. To the market scan tool with the Stockscores investor strategies. Email support from me. And all of that for 6 months. And then after 6 months, you pay $300 a year to maintain your access to the tools. You don't have to pay $300 a year to maintain access to the education. The education, you pay for that once, you have access to it. The Active Trader course, same thing as the investor course. You get all the investor material, you get the foundation material, you also get the Active Trader material, access to the market scans, email support from me, and also my real-time indicators for TradeStation. Those little dots that appear on the chart, the processes, there's some other indicators that I haven't shown you yet that we use. All of that is included with the Active Trader course. And again, access to Stockscores is for $300 a year. Plus, coming up in June, I will be doing this online training. Saturday for 3 hours, we're going to do the foundation material together. I'll walk you through it. No procrastination. You're going to learn it in that Saturday morning and then probably go through it again on your own after the fact. Monday to Thursday for the people that take the investor course for an hour in the evening, I'm going to do the market scans with you and we're going to evaluate stocks together. Most of my students start out not being fussy enough and I want you to be fussy, so I am going to show you how to be selective. And then for those who want to see me day trade live, day and swing trade, Monday to Thursday for the first 2 or 3 hours of the morning, I am going to walk you through the process that I use to find day trades and swing trades, and I'll hopefully be making some real trades. I'm certain I will. I go through it a little slower when I teach, so I may not do as many trades as I would normally do, but I will be, saying, okay, I found Yahoo, and here's why I'm going to buy it, and here's where I'm going to, take the position, and how many shares I'm going to buy, walk through the whole risk management calculation, that kind of thing. All of these sessions, all of these, will be recorded. So if you can't join all of them, because there's a lot there, then you can always watch the video later. And a year from now, you can watch the video. Like I give those videos to my students so that they can watch them over and over again. And there's a ton of information that comes in these sessions because I am going through things pretty quickly, just the nature of the market, especially when I'm day trading and swing trading. I got to go through it fairly fast. So it's nice to have that video to go back to and pause it and think about what I just said and why I did that and try to emulate it on your own platform. Okay, so you get all of that live training in June for free if you register before May 31st. It's normally $495 upgrade. Foundation live on Saturday, evenings of market scans for the investor group and the active trader group, and for those who do the active trader as well, they also get the live trading Monday to Thursday. For the first 2 hours, except on Wednesday, we will go from 7:30 till 9:30, not 6:30 till 8:30. Again, this is Pacific time. So if you're in a different time zone, adjust it. Basically, the first 2 hours of the market. Pricing, investor course, $2,495. If you have taken another course in the past, you can upgrade to these courses. So go log into Stockscores, go to the education page. It'll tell you what the upgrade fees are. The investor course for a new student is $24.95. For an active trader student is $34.95. These prices are in Canadian dollars. So for those of you who think in terms of US dollars, that's a pretty good discount. I think it's about 20-25% discount right now because of the Canadian dollar's weakness in the last little while. So how do you learn more? Well, first thing you can do is answer my poll. And let me just open up this poll here. Bear with me for a moment. If you've already answered this poll in the past, you don't need to do so again. But basically, if you would like an email next week before May 31st, so it'll probably come out Monday, you can just say yes to this, and I'll send you an email with a little more information about the class coming up. So I'll just leave that up for a moment. If you have questions about the course, you can email me. My email address is tylerb@stockscores.com. I'll put that up again in a moment. And of course, you can go to the education page on Stockscores, and there's videos on that page at stockscores.com/learn. You can go to that page and watch those videos. It's all free stuff to take a look at. I'll leave this up for another moment, then I'm going to take it down. Now, if you are one of my past students, let's say you took my course 2 years ago and you want to repeat the course, you can do that. The repeat fee is $195, and it's a good way to get updated on all the latest things I'm doing. So I have students from, actually I had a student email me who took my course, my very first course, I think over 15 years ago, and he's going to upgrade and update himself to all the new material for $195 with this run. Because he feels like there's probably some new stuff to take advantage of. So that's the kind of thing I do for my old students. Happy to do that. And if you are one of my old students and you didn't get the email that I sent out, I sent it out to everyone, but yeah, it's possible that it lands in a spam folder or something. Take a look in those spam folders. You might find it in there. But if you didn't get it, just fire me an email and I will send you the link to register. It's not, there's no links on the website. You have to link, or you have to register from the email I send out. So don't think you can go to the website and register that way. It won't work. All right, so here is the important address on Stockscores where you can learn more about the courses, the active trader, the investor course. There's my email address, tylerb@stockscores.com. Actually, go to the next slide here. It's got all my stuff. So that is my email address. This is Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. It's a great place to get my little tidbits of ideas through the week. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel on YouTube. That's the address for that. I upload at least a video every week, sometimes more. All of the videos from the webinars I've done through the month of May. They're all on my YouTube channel. So if you missed one and you want to watch all of those videos, just go to YouTube, look my channel up, just do a search for Stockscores, and you'll see all of those videos up there. All right. I'm going to wrap it up pretty quick here. I'll just maybe, if you have any questions, you can ask now. You can also email me the questions if you'd rather that way. I'm on my laptop. I'm actually in a hotel today. I had to do a little road trip, so I got a little bit harder for me to track everything. So question is, what is the cost to take both the active trader and investor course, and how much overlap is there between the two courses? So if you do the active trader course, you also get the investor course. Okay, so the active trader includes the investor course. It you don't do both. And is there overlap? Well, not really, because basically the way it works is you get the foundation as your theory, and what the investor course is my rules for when to buy and sell, and the active trader course is my rules for when to buy and sell, but for different strategies. So all you're learning with the investor course is the specific strategies for when to buy, sell, and manage risk. And on the active trader side, it's when to buy and sell when you're day trading or swing trading. So if you take the active trader course, you get everything. If you take the investor course, you get the foundation as well. And if you want to upgrade from the investor to the active trader down the road, you can do that. All right. So someone's asking about my trading records. I don't release my trading records to the public, but you can go onto Twitter, because I will make comments on Twitter, and I'll sometimes post my trades on Twitter, that kind of thing. And I don't make money all the time, but one of the things that I try to do on Twitter is to say what I'm doing before it happens. In other words, I put out that comment saying I am shorting gold stocks. Well, I wasn't shorting gold stocks. I was buying the ETF, but I did that before they had started to go up. So many people on Twitter will say, well, this is what I did last week, and aren't I smart? Well, that's kind of fixing the results, because you can cherry pick the ones you put out there. So I try on Twitter to actually say the thing before I do it, and then you can judge for yourself whether I'm doing a good job or not. Aside from the software, do you have a recommendation for technology setup? So I've written an article on Stockscores on what I think is the ultimate day trading laptop. So I'll show you where that article is. So you go into the Stockscores website, go to Products, Newsletters, go to Read Past Weekend Newsletters, and there is an article here, The Ultimate Trader Laptop, on March 5th, 2016. So that talks a little bit about how to set yourself up for trading, and this is the computer I use. It's on the what's called the Microsoft Surface book, which is a computer that came out, I think, last year. And it's not perfect, but it is, to me, the best computer for trading. Now, if you are position trading, you don't need this thing. It's more so if you're going to day trade or swing trade, and even swing trading, you don't really need it. But it is a great computer if you want to be a day trader. It's portable. You can hook up 2 huge monitors to it. I have 2 40-inch monitors, 4K monitors hooked up to mine. Anyway, read that article. You'll learn a little bit more about that as well. Next question, will the active trader course be recorded as well? Yes, I record everything. So all of those live trading sessions that I do through the day, and I'm using my money, I'm going to buy and sell stocks, I'm going to show you how to go through the processes. I'll record all of those. I may pause the recording once in a while if we're waiting for things to happen, because I don't want 3 hours with a bunch of blank airspace while we wait for trades to happen. But for the most part, you'll get all the action in the recording. Would you explain how to properly use the sector search? How do you find all industry-related supplier companies in the oil industry? I don't want to spend too much time on that. There is in the Getting Started guide, I think there's a little bit in the user guide about how to use the sector watch. But very quickly, I'll just show you this tool. And this is a tool that you get if you're a member of Stockscores. If you go to the sector watch, you can go into U.S. indices, and you can see the ratings for all the different industry groups. Okay, so you're interested in oil suppliers or supplier companies in the oil industry. So this is not something I do. I actually prefer to do bottom up as opposed to top down. But within energy, you can see there is a sector called oil drilling equipment and services. Okay, if I click on that, I can see the companies that are in that group. And I can also go from list view to gallery view, and I can look at their charts. Now, some of these charts are stocks that don't trade very actively. Okay, that's one way to do it. The other thing you can do is go into the market scan and select stocks within a sector. So you see here there's a sector area. So I could go into oil service, or I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's do healthcare. Okay, I can do healthcare and just run the report, and it gives me all healthcare companies. So I can look at their charts and see if there's anything good in those charts. Now I may say only show me the healthcare companies. So let's go back. Only show me the healthcare companies that have a sentiment score greater than 60, which is an important thing if you're position trading. So let's go sentiment score greater than 60, run the report. And now we have stocks that have good scores. You can see there the scores are pretty high. All right, so again, cycle through these. When I see one that I like, oh, there's a nice pennant breakout on this hemisphere. That's actually a good looking chart. EMIS. That one looks like it can go higher from here. I like that weekly chart. All right, so that's bottom up. I don't really do that. I do top down with the market scan tool, but so that you've got your question answered, hopefully that helps a little bit. I think I got everything there. So I think I'll wrap it up. I want to thank you all for participating this morning, but also for the last month. I did record this one, this presentation, and we'll upload it to YouTube later today and send out an email to everyone when it's uploaded so that you can watch it yourself, maybe have a friend watch it, that sort of thing. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great rest of the day and a great week in the market. Trade well. Thanks.